Welcome back to the Past Alive. Thank you all for tuning in tonight for the return of the monthly series, Needle in a Wax Stack. And that's a series where I go back into the past and I find boxes where we're chasing after some pretty legendary and hard to pull chase cards, maybe autographs, inserts, or even in tonight's episode, very rare error cards. And in particular, we're looking for a rare Robin Yount Air in a box I have not opened for a couple of years now. I think I'm gonna open one of these in total, 86 SPORTFLICS that came in a neat little sleeve here. So this is the debut year of SPORTFLICS, which kind of took the hobby by storm. You may have not seen these since your childhood, but they weren't really all that popular when they came out. You see here we have advertised Series 1, which is 200 cards, but they never actually made a Series 2 due to the unpopularness of the entire thing. But when these came out, I feel like as a kid, I thought they were the coolest thing ever. I wasn't collecting in '86, but when I did get into the hobby around 1989, I thought they were freaking awesome in comparison to everything else. But each pack of these, we have 36 cards, or 36 packs in a box, 3 cards per pack, and we're going to see an awful lot of what I like to refer to as the Ninja Star cards. At least that's what we used them as when we were young. 2 of those per pack, 3 regular cards, but we're chasing after this rare Robin Yount that actually has the wrong team printed on the back, the wrong team and logo. So we see on the back here, watch for new series. Well, that new series never actually happened. We got Paul L., Corey, and everybody else in the house. This box is actually made possible and courtesy of our good buddy Mikey G, who sent this to me for my birthday, amongst a bunch of other awesome stuff in the TPIA Afghan, if you have not seen that recent mail day video. So thank you again to Mikey G for providing this box to rip. You can get a box of these for about 50 bucks. That's normally what I open for this series. But 3 cards per pack. Off the bat, we have a Dave Righetti. So you can see how people would kind of be in awe by these comparison to everything else that was out at the time. Harold Baines, here are the Ninja Stars. All kinds of trivia. And these are kind of cool, too. These Don Mattingly Disc Offer propaganda pieces. I actually have a big stack of these. I think I sent Mikey G one recently. But if you're a Don Mattingly collector, that might be something you need in the PC. And we got a lot of these multiplayer cards. I see Cecil Cooper on here, George Brett, Wade Boggs, and there is Donnie Baseball on the back, or on the front of that card there. Paul says, let's get this Yount. I love the multiplayer cards. There's a whole bunch of those in here. So like I said before, the Yount looks exactly like this. The error card, it is printed New York Yankees on the back instead of the Brewers. And it's a pretty rare card to find. There's one on eBay right now that I saw. It's 330 bucks. Buy it now. That's the cheapest one that I think I've ever seen, honestly. So they're tough to track down. I've seen them sell for $500. I've seen graded ones sell for more than that, obviously. But the collation of these is going to be pretty awful. I think the actual, like, I forget the percentages. Maybe, like, if you open a box of these, you might get 17% of the 200 card set. So, you see it already. We got Dave Righetti again. Scott Geraltz. Unfortunately, this probably is not going to feature his laser eyes like his iconic 86 Donruss card that we've all become obsessed with over the years. But it almost reminds me of a Yak Pack rip. Those packs have all these pamphlets and everything else in here. We have all kinds of random trivia pieces and then the propaganda piece. And there's Pete Rose looking real pissed off and miserable there. Sandberg, Steve Garvey on this card. Corey says, I'm done. I'm doing a shot every time John says rare, and I'm hammered. When you did a Ninja Star throwing video, yeah, one of these days I'll make a video actually demonstrating the proper technique for throwing said Ninja Stars. I've counted 7 rares at the moment. We got Bob Horner start things off. The man who hit 4 home runs in 1 game a long time ago. Harold Baines yet again. But Paul L. said, how big are these discs? The simulated major motion discs. I don't know if I've ever seen one of those, honestly, but it was a redemption for that. Paul L., if you don't have one of those, I feel like you need to get one. We have several different pitchers here. Necro, Jerry Royce, and Mike Witt on that card. So no sign of any Yount yet. Notable rookies in this set. They're really the best rookies you can find. Vince Coleman is in here, and Ozzie Guillen. And you also have Roger McDowell. Teddy Higuera has a rookie in here, which we would have referred to him as Teddy Hugger back then. We have Nolan Ryan showing up now. That's definitely a nice one. Penny Sleeve Steve, what's going on? It says, throwing ninja stars with limp wrist and antics. I love it. Mike Moore. But a definitely cool concept for 86. No doubt about that. Propaganda piece aside, there is Willie McGee. You got Doc Gooden on there. Cards, cars, and guitars. What's going on? The Big Six. GM became a channel member. GM, what's going on, man? Good to see you in here, and thank you for joining the debauchery. Does Paul Heron have his disc in this? Paul Heron is always involved in everything we do around here, no matter what. That Ron Kittle to start the pack off. There was a Ron Guidry showing up. Yeah, I think according to Baseball Card P, I want to say you'll end up with like 73 duplicates opening a box of this. I have this complete set, and some have gotten ugly. Bob Welch is going to end that pack out. So ripping right along, I figured this would be a good one. There's all kinds of shards and shrapnel left behind from this coating. Manly's disc measures 4.5 inches, Paul Chatiofu says. So we got Lee Lacy starting this pack off. Jim Rice coming in hot right behind him. GM says, I wasn't able to chat until now. I was wondering what happened to you. I'm not really sure what's up with that. And it looks like we got a Seaver on here. Rick Sutcliffe. I can't make out who that Phillies pitcher is. John Denny to end that pack. Mattingly's better than TPI After Dark has already started. Paul F says, can't miss a live stream. Never know when some new lore will make its debut. You definitely never do. You have to tune into every single stream, otherwise you might miss something like the Red Vest restaurant that may come around, and you'll have no idea what everyone is obsessing over currently. Corey making inappropriate comments, which should be expected. So we got a Reggie to start this pack off. There's another Jim Rice, one we just saw moments ago, and we have a quad card here with Keith Hernandez. You got Tony Gwynn on there, Dave Parker, Bill Madlock. I'm going to push this box up to the side. I feel like it's kind of obscuring everything. Brian Charles says, Terminator is offended by the futuristic nature of these rare gems. There's a Puckett, and the unofficial sponsor of tonight's video has returned to this household. We have Dr. Zevia before us. It was a long couple days without that in my gullet. But Puckett shows up, a third-year Puckett, Mike Moore, having a time of his freaking life in real time on these cards. And Rafael Palmeiro with John Candelaria. It's tough to see some of these faces. And Bob Forsch. Paul says, once that box is empty, Pee-wee is going to use it as an ashtray and probably fill it up in one night. Would not doubt it. Of course, I've been known to flick it for sport. The inappropriate comments are pouring in. You got Kent Herbeck, or as my brother would call him at one point in time, Kent Home Run Beck. Here is a Rhino, as Corey would insist on calling him. And we have an Eddie Murray, it looks like. Well, Eddie Murray is one of these faces, along with Ripken. And I can't make out, it looks like Fred Lynn. That's Fred Lynn right there. It's a nice card, though. And Pee-wee is also here, freshly back from the neighbors. A fresh pack of smokes in his tiny little jacket. Looks like we have Leon Durham starting off. Sandberg yet again. And the final one, Fisk, Necro, and it looks like Don Sutton. Cool one there. I call Rafael, Dennis Eckersley, Rafael Palmeiro. That was a Freudian slip. Before Rafael Palmeiro was even a name. I will never live that down, I'm sure. But I'd rather talk about things like Von Smoltz. That is the newest thing around here. Jack Morris starts this pack off. We have a Fernando Valenzuela. Some people would call him Fernando Venezuela, like the country. And I enjoy it every time I hear that. A Freudian flick. GM says, happy belated birthday. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't think that you were here for the mail day video, but it was pretty freaking awesome. Mike EG's aunt made me a TPIA Afghan, which had to have taken forever, but that was sick. There's all kinds of other goodies along with it. If you missed that, check it out. It was several days ago. We did that on Thursday of last week. The Big Six. Got some big names on here. Mattingly, Boggs, Gooden, Henderson, Willie McGee, and John Tudor. Vaughn Smoltz rookie in here. I can feel it. I can only hope. Paul says, I still have to finish watching the birthday live stream. Paul's been very busy lately. Like, I'm very surprised by how busy he has been. He has constantly been doing things the last several live streams. And we have Tony Fernandez to start this pack off. Another Jim Rice. Lots of Jim Rice in this box thus far. And there is Sutcliffe, Seaver, and Fernando Valenzuela on this card. Mitch says, my sons and I love watching you at PAX. Thank you for being here, man. I love to hear that. GM says, I will have watched a few things recently, but I haven't finished. I'm glad you're able to find time to join us tonight. There is a Yount. So we got the first one. Could it be the error card? It is not. That is the corrected. But that is what we're looking for. For it to say New York Yankees, there's a Tony Gwynn. Nice one. And the final card of the pack is another one of these trio cards, I believe. Molitor, Ripken, and Willie Wilson on this one. Yeah, these ones are definitely kind of tough to make out the picture. The past is lenticularly alive. I love it. So just because that Yount was not an error does not mean there's not another one, or there's not going to be an error in this box. So do not go anywhere, I beg you. Steve Sachs shows up. Starting this pack off, we got Chris Ritz in the house. Ernie Riles is coming in hot after that and looking stoned in that photo. And the final one, once again, we have Pete Rose. Super hard to see some of these. Parker, Madlock, and Rose on this one. I see Madlock now. Mud Flap says, no scraggly mullet on the Yankees. Paul L's demanding a Mike Walkton sighting. Ask ye shall most definitely receive. So much propaganda pieces in here. Walkton is here. He's still in the eternal snow globe, or soon-to-be snow globe, I should say. There's nothing holding him up. He is floating entirely on his own accord. He's not rotating with the Earth's axis tonight, though, however. There's Frank Viola starting this pack off. Paul L's pumped on the Walkton sighting. And Pedro Guerrero shows up. And another one of these Big Six. Brett Guidry, Hernandez. We saw this one earlier. We also have Dale Murphy on here as well. Did Pee Wee go on a bender for your birthday? Pee Wee is on a bender every single day. He still has the trach in as well. Actually sounds kind of better today. I would say that was significantly an improvement from what we've been seeing and hearing from him. But don't let him fool you. He's still smoking more cigarettes than anybody else on Earth, working his way towards the Guinness Book of World Records. Of course, I bet you can't throw a Ninja Star in that room and hit the actual floor. Yeah, I don't think... I'd probably not take that bet, honestly, because it's probably true. This is Dave Winfield starting this pack off. And Pedro Guerrero yet again. Propaganda pieces aside, the trio card of Brett, Baines, and Jim Rice to end that pack. So I'm curious to know what you guys think. Do you think these... Is it cool to see these cards all these years later, or did you hate them when they came out? 86, the rookies, was really the bigger set of the two. That's where you had Canseco and Bonds and Bo Jackson. The bigger names went in their way in that set. Coleman and Guillen, the biggest ones in here. Another Yount, another corrected Brewers, unfortunately. There's Tony Gwynn yet again. Brett Yount and Fred Lynn on this card. Mikey G says, I love these. Yeah, I don't know if I actually saw SPORTFLICS. I think the first ones I saw were 89. And I definitely thought they were pretty cool. I think the one thing I didn't like about them is that they were tough to put in a top loader. Like, you really had to jam them in there. Shady Afusa 6 told me hated these at Kmart. No names on the front. I could see how that would piss people off too. And I'm sure it probably pissed me off at one point in time as well. Cards literally shredding apart. Another Yount. So seen a lot of those and a lot of Brewers logos in the back. Too many of those, actually. There's another Tony Gwynn. So you see the collation. Isn't that great? You got Gary Carter, Fred and Lynn, and Steve Garvey on this card, it looks like. Jason Easterling, what is going on, man? We're about halfway through the box, I would say now. Sloppy Stacks says, my sets are crazy curled. You know, I've definitely seen them that way before. Jeff Reardon, that burly beard, shows up. There's Ernest Riles yet again. Joker 68, what's going on, man? And on here we have Boggs, McGee, Mattingly, and Dave Parker, it looks like, along with Darrell Evans and Dale Murphy at the bottom. Paul also, this is stuff that I wouldn't have bought as a kid. Like, I don't buy Panini Baseball or Gypsy Queen or Allen and Ginter now. I love how you said Ginter instead of Ginter. That's very much approved around here. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Absolutely. I don't really buy modern cards. I do like Chrome releases. I think they're pretty awesome. Like, I think the 2024 Chrome, Topps Chrome, and Bowman Chrome are both pretty awesome releases. I do like them. They're pretty expensive, though. So I wouldn't really necessarily go out and buy too many of them. I also like update releases. So I might get a high box of 2024 update when they come out. There's Lee Smith. I honestly could not see his face there. Ernest Riles has become an Omen on here. So welcome to the Omen Club. Paul L. put him on the list now and forever. That is at least the third time seeing that card. And it looks like we have John Denny, Vada Blue, and is that Fernando Valenzuela? That's what it looks like. Paul L. put him on the Omen list. And here we have Tim Wallach starting this pack off. Pedro Guerrero yet again. Sloppy Stacks has always hated when something wasn't in Beckett. You know what? I was going to say that too. SPORTFLICS definitely, at one point in time, they were not in the monthly Becketts. And I think that kind of made me detest them as well. Along with, you didn't have minor league cards in there. And Pacific wasn't in Beckett originally. So it was like, well, if they're not in Beckett, then they're not legitimate cards. That's kind of how I thought as a kid. Because back in the 80s and 90s, that's what everyone used. Like, if you go to a card show, everybody used Beckett for everything. That was your go-to. I mean, people kind of scoff at that now, but that was how people dictated the prices. I feel like there's still a lot of people that use Beckett. When I go to card shows, I still see book value on, I'd probably say, half of the dealers that are there. In my neck of the woods, that's what I see regularly around here. So on here we have Carter, Oliver, and George Foster. Trevor Williams in the house says, my third grade students and I found 86 SPORTFLICS to be grimy and dark, but loved how bright and clean 94 was. 94 was definitely a nice year. They had some cool inserts as well, and they ended up making the SPORTFLICS Traded, which I don't think went over so well, and you can get the Alex Rodriguez rookie out of there. But I can totally understand why people as kids didn't like them, because almost like why, you know, a lot of people wouldn't like Panini now because they don't have the license. They're almost like not legitimate cards. So the first one, we got Lance Parrish smiling back at us. Brett Saberhagen shows up for the first time. Looks like his teeth are green. And all kinds of stuff happening on here. We have John Tudor, Guidry, Gooden, Andahar, Saberhagen, and Tom Browning. And in that pack, let's pull the rest of the packs out. So you didn't really get a whole lot of cards, but they were really banking on the overall technology to really woo and wow the consumer. Sugar68 says, do they still make a Beckett each month magazine? They definitely do. They're pretty terrible, because Beckett just kind of became a thing where if anyone wanted to use them, they only go back about 10 years, the monthly ones. Unless, I mean, outside of a couple releases from like they might have a couple different sets from like the 80s and 90s, like the bigger ones, 84 Fleer Update. But outside of that, I don't even know if they have that anymore. If you want to look up 1980 to 2014 or 2013, you have to buy the, I think it is the, what is it? It's the Almanac. And then if you want to look up pre-1980, you have to buy the vintage Beckett. It's really weird the way they do that. So there's Leon Durham again. Sean Dunston now shows up. And I mean, Beckett, I'll still buy an almanac every once in a while. I'll buy them on like eBay for like $30 because when they come out, they're like 50, which is crazy. But I'll refer to them for like certain insert cards and stuff of that nature, like looking at different sets. I might flip through it looking for different boxes to open that might yield like autographs that are numbered and stuff like that. But I certainly don't use them for pricing. We have Seaver, Sutcliffe, and Carlton on this card. GM says, when is the Whatnot thing? The Whatnot thing's tomorrow night, and I hope that you guys will join me over there for the final dollar card show for a while, and the giveaways. It's at 8:15. I think there's about 17 people that bookmarked it so far. I'd like to get 50 plus people in there. If we could do that, that'd be amazing. But I'm going to throw a bunch of neat stuff together for that. It'll be a little under 2 hours, but if you haven't signed up yet, use my code. You get $15. You can spend it there tomorrow. Might get a Jeter rookie or something else for absolutely nothing just by downloading the app. But if you haven't bookmarked it yet, bookmark it so you get notified when it does happen, because there's going to be some real hanky-panky happening over there tomorrow night. Looks like we have Alvin Davis starting that pack off. Guidry. And the final card of this pack, looks like we have a Ripken, Molitor, and Willie Wilson. Strawberry, looking dazed and confused. Starting this pack off, John Franco shows up. And there's Alvin Davis. Looks like Lou Whitaker and Rod Carew. My baby does the hanky-panky. Come there tomorrow night and request that song. I will play it. Playing requests all night, no matter what it is. And when I say that, I mean I'm going to play Gangsta's Paradise for an hour and 45 minutes straight. So, this one, we have Bill Buckner. There's Guidry yet again. And the final card, I see a scraggly mullet on here. And Ripken and Donnie Baseball to end that pack. Getting down to the nitty-gritty here in this box. Pauses, and then Raid to pull Wax live stream at the end. Yeah, it's kind of become a tradition. I feel like they must be live like constantly, because the last two I've done, they were live at, what, 10 o'clock? So we kind of have to go in there again. That everyone gets real pissed off. Looks like we got Rod Carew starting this pack off. There's Guidry. Can we put Guidry on the Omen list? I don't know. I feel like we've talked about that before, and it was decided against originally. But that is definitely seeing a good bit of him. The Mets are down 2-0 right now. So this one we got Orsulak, Mark Salalas, as we used to call him, Larry Sheets, Stuart Clyburn, Brian Fisher, and Joe Hesketh. This probably wouldn't be a card that anybody would ever collect. With that lineup, I wouldn't think so. Of course, is Raid anybody else but them? Yeah, I think this week we'll actually do something different, because it doesn't really work out the last couple of times. There's Steve Garvey. It's like he's chopping down a tree in that motion. There's Sean Dunston yet again. Paul says, too bad we couldn't raid Tree Trimmer 82 live stream. Yeah, Tree Trimmer 82 disappeared again. I really miss him. There's Carney Lansford, Wade Boggs, and Donnie Baseball in this one. Yeah, I know that some of you guys ended up getting into it with the live stream we rated. There is good old Andre Dawson, or the Hawk, as Corey would call him. Sean Dunston, yet again. A terrible 80s collation is haunting us. Looks like we got Guidry, Sutcliffe, and I can't make out of that last one, Mike Boddicker. We have 7 packs left of 86 SPORTFLICS. See, we saw what? 3 Robin Younts. Obviously, all were corrected. It is a very tough pull. It is something you might be able to find in a quarter or a dime box, because I feel like it's not really that well known about. There's Pete Rose. Starting this pack off, Odeby McDowell. Unfortunately, not the Odeby McDowell from 87 Donruss, where it looks like he's literally wearing pantyhose over his face and about to rob a bank. That's definitely a classic card. And we got Pete Rose. Looks really creepy. Really creepy going from Pete Rose to Darryl Strawberry when you look at it. Like, I'm trying to see if I can capture that. It's real weird if you can see. Yeah, there it is. Look at that. That is freaky as hell. Absolutely freaky. And Steve Sachs is really upset that I pointed that out, but he will have to learn to live with it. All right, 6 packs remain. The Desperate Search. And Needle to WaxStack, spoiler alert, it never ends in any kind of joyousness happening. It always ends in disappointment. Other than the 91 Donruss case rip, which one of these days I'm going to get a case of something else, and we're going to rip open 20 boxes of something, and I will hate my life and every aspect of it doing so, but it's for a good cause. There's Sweet Lou Whitaker, as Corey would insist on us all calling him. Saberhagen shows up with his green teeth, a neon green in all of their glory. And we've seen this one earlier already. And then there were 5. So tomorrow night we'll do Whatnot, sell a bunch of stuff on there, and then I think Friday maybe we'll open a bunch of packs from Jared Slater. I've been meaning to get to that video. That should be a lot of fun because there's a lot of cool stuff in there. I also have a box of Yak packs and a box of 3 bros. We're gonna face them off against each other in a live stream. See which one is worse or better. I don't even know if you can compare the two of them. I got my money on Yak packs personally. There's Tom Bransky starting this pack off. Brian Downing, who I was temporarily pumped on, probably in '89. And then on Halloween night, we're gonna open True Crime cards, looking for the electric chair hologram that supposedly gets people banned on eBay, from what I've heard. So we've got Raleigh Fingers. Is that Rod Carew and Jim Rice? That's what it looks like. 4 remain. Corey says YouTube dating tomorrow night. I will miss it. There is Jose Cruz Sr. There's a Ripken. Base Ripken. I feel like we have not yet seen that. Brian Downing was 45 in 1989. He definitely had the look of that. We haven't seen any Vince Coleman rookie or Ozzie Guillen yet. Surprising. Topps Fright Flicks. I'm trying to think of anything else we have to open. Or any other videos that I promised recently that I have not yet delivered. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of them. There's Ozzie Smith, first time seeing that one. Ricky Henderson now shows up. It's a nice one there. Mr. Cases, I went to Shea Stadium when they were working on Yankee Stadium and saw the Yankees play the Brewers and saw a 19-year-old Yount hit 2 triples. That's pretty awesome memory. Paul says 94 Flair Series 2 because I've been begging for it for years. You know what? I was looking at this box not that long ago. So one of these days I will get a box of 94 Flair just for Paul Elk. So we got Mike Schmidt on here with Pedro Guerrero. And who's that last player? Daryl Porter. 2 remain. Kenny Smith says all Yak packs at the LCS yesterday. I'd never seen them anywhere before. I suspect this channel is responsible for that. Yeah, whenever I originally opened those, I think they were just like a craze. You couldn't find them anywhere, and now there's been a couple on eBay. I think I paid like, I don't know, around $30 for a box, which is way too much. You used to get a 6-box sealed case for like $30. And that was a lot of fun because then you get to see all their terrible redemptions, and you can just see the terrible collation and everything else. But there's Strawberry Jonathan H. returns his money for a blue or red dustbuster to clean up the Flix flags. Well, thank you very much for that, Jonathan H. It's a pleasure to have you back. And I must say that I'm somewhat disappointed because I directly shouted you out in the most recent Retro Wax video. And I was waiting for a comment, and one never came. So I was a little bit let down, but I figured you're probably busy, and I'm not going to hold it against you. You're Gary Ward to end that pack. One more left. Mike Blowers, yeah, the last time I opened Yak packs, one of the last times, or no, it was 3 Bros, where Mike Blowers was in every single pack. It was a different card, though. Brian Charles says, ever get your styrofoam headstones back from your property? A lot of obsessed neighbor. I'm pretty sure they took one of them. I think it blew in their yard, and I don't think I ever got it back, and it just disappeared. It's not there anymore, so I think that they literally took it, and they're squandering it in the garage, probably like holding it hostage for some sort of trade-off. I don't know. That might involve Pee-wee. I'm sure. We're going to get to that at some point. Britt Burns. I remember Britt Burns, but not really anything about him whatsoever. Ripken, the last card of Needle and WaxStack for October is going to be Righetti, Valenzuela, and Sutcliffe. So we saw, what, 3 Younts. None were error cards. They were all corrected, and I'm left with nothing but shame and a big mess that I have to pull a dustbuster out. Or I don't know who I'm really trying to kid. I'm probably just going to leave that there, and you will see it tomorrow night on Whatnot. So I hope you'll join me 8:15 tomorrow for all the debauchery and antics over on the 24/7 buying and selling platform. And then Friday, hopefully back here to rip a whole bunch of packs. But another failure of Needle and Wax Stack. We will do it again next month with a different product. So stay tuned for that. You guys freaking rule. I will see you all back tomorrow night.